Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Reinvented Life. Excited to be back with everyone. I hope everyone's had a great start to their week. Our guest today on the Reinvented Life Show, I'm excited to bring you. He has been a guest, regular guest on this show before, but I'm excited because we haven't talked for a little while. And, you know, the topic of the show is reinvention. So today we're going to take a dive into what's happening in our lives, how we're reinventing, what it takes to reinvent, and the whole notion that's become so relevant today. So I cannot wait to bring him on. His name is Freddy Santory. He's familiar to some of you. He is the founder, owner of AMP2 Media. He's the creator, the mastermind behind all of this. This is how I can come on and be with you all. He really is incredible in terms of what he does there at AMP2, runs the Reinvented Life Network, the Brooklyn Cafe. And without further ado, welcome Freddie to the Reinvented Life Show.
Chanel, how are you, hon? How is San Francisco? How's it going out on the West Coast?
Well, it's going great. I mean, you know, there's the weather's been absolutely beautiful. So, for unusually beautiful, for San Francisco is known for being sort of cold in the summer, but it hasn't been. It's been a gorgeous 70, 80 degrees, and yeah, it's actually been beautiful here. And I know in Florida where you are, it's always beautiful.
It is, except when it's raining. You know, it's funny. I have a bunch of producers sitting around, and we were talking about your show, and they didn't realize that was my son Gio that does the open on your show
Yeah.
with the voice modulator. And they're all sitting here saying, "That's Gio?" And it's kind of funny because we've been doing, 2 years now, 3 years? How long have you been with us?
Five years, Freddie. It
5 years.
started in 2020. A month
Wow.
into COVID, we started this show. I can't believe it myself. I think about 5 years. It feels like two. It feels like it's just flown.
I gotta tell you, the reason that you, ladies and gentlemen, see what you see around you is because when I met this lady, we had just moved in here. And we had to talk about how to reinvent ourselves. And it's so funny because nobody's gonna believe this story, but she has as much to do with this place as anybody because it was her change in her life. She captivated my son Gio. You captivated me, and Dawn, it was your philosophy, your ideology, how to reinvent yourself, make yourself better, keep going, taking the bad out, making it good, taking the weak, making it strong. And it was actually you who influenced me into coming here and doing the things that you see around you. I thought it was 3 or 4 years ago. It was from the very beginning.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning, a month into COVID. When I think back on it now, I think about all the shows, all the guests, all the things we've done, the time I got to come back there and be with you, which I obviously want to do again. I think about all of that and I can't believe how time has just flown, but it's fun to hear the impact that I have. I think that's true for all of us. You know, your impact on my life has been just as astounding. And I love hearing that we can impact each other's lives, because that's really what it's all about. Reinvention is exactly for that, is how do we stay relevant? How do we take what's working and then look at what's not working and just use it as an opportunity to move ahead with something else?
Exactly. When I first met you, we didn't do remotes. We had just
Right.
started with a different type of system for the radio. We changed that. And then we started doing remotes. And I believe that we did the J.C. Dreesen show at a movie theater, and you came out for
Hmm.
that, didn't you? And that
Well, I
had,
came out just for it, but yeah, yeah.
I, and you did,
When you
because
were
that had
getting,
a lot to do with reinventing what we do and making it better, growing it, making it. So now, if you were to talk to me today, the group that's in here is doing something different. They're going out to different restaurants and they're bringing it into the cafe, and they have a whole bunch of different ideas that they're doing. And every time I turn around, they say they pitch me this, and I say yes, because I remember the words you told me. Reinvented life continues. It never stops. You just got to give it a chance to grow and go. And everything has changed. How we deliver, how we do camera work, the things that we're doing with restaurants right now, going out to Boynton, opening up pop-up studios all over the place so that we have a home in different cities. All of that is what we're currently trying to do now, which is an amazing time in this in the philosophy of that right now.
it's I get so excited to hear it, because that is really what it's all about. And what you're doing, by going out to all these places and reaching outside of the studio, is you're connecting. And the most important part today of any business, I don't care what your business is one's ability to connect with others. And by going outside the studio, you're increasing that reach. And that's what it's all about. It's connecting and becoming more accessible for more people.
Absolutely. And people have things to say, things to share, information to give you. And delivery becomes vital. Delivering it so you get people's attention. You know, attention span since I've met you have gone from 30 seconds down to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Now on social media, they have 4 second clocks. How many people watch something for 4 seconds? And they measure that. So as a society, our brains are getting faster, our minds are getting faster. So you have to be quick and you have to make something powerful within a very short window of time.
Yeah, the time to make an impact is as you're saying, it's almost instantaneous. And there's so many other things to consider today. We're used to talking one on one, whether it be remote or in person. I know you have a lot of in person guests there, and I've been always a remote guest for you. But, when you think about what's taking over the world, when you think about AI, when you think about, what is artificial intelligence doing to what we're talking about? How does that impact the conversations? Well, the one thing it does is it increases that speed so fast. And the other thing is, it takes away, in a way, from the connection that I was just talking about. So it's really important that with whatever we do, and when we have captured the attention, that we are able to still stress the connections with one another. Because I go back to it, it's vital.
Yeah, we still have to be able to communicate. One of the things I like about media is that it pushes you to be a better communicator. It pushes you to understand one another's feelings and things that you're going through. But you have to remember that what you give, you're going to get back. So you have to give respect. You got to give all the different hard work elements that it takes to do these things. You know, AI can be used and it can be used correctly. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
replace the individual, but it can enhance the individual. The only thing is that you have to understand yourself a little bit before you go to an outside source to explain it yourself to it. You can't do that. You can't let AI define you. You have to define it. You have to sort of use it and control it. So it's an interesting challenge in our field, in the things that we do and the things that we want to bring. But because of it, it gives us faster solutions to problems that we come up with. Even you today, changing your phone from one angle to the other, you learned today how to do that, which is important. It's all important in delivery, and it looks good. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. What do you find when you're talking to everyone, the biggest challenge out there for people? Because that's what I love, is to kind of take the challenge and be able to reinvent it and come up with ideas that'll be helpful for people.
Well, the challenges with me personally are many folds. If I'm having a conversation with you about media and reinvented life, it's one language. In here, the producers, they're under 30 years of age, all of them. There is nobody here close to 30, maybe 26 is the oldest. So when you begin to speak what you and I generally talk about with them, it's a different language. You can't make references to things in the past that are over 26 years old or even 25 years ago because they weren't here. So
Right.
There's no way in the world that they can relate to that. They don't understand what the Beatles meant to this country. They don't understand what certain things meant to this country, and how we use these things to grow up on and to learn. Work ethic is different back in the day than it is today because we didn't have phones to communicate with, to play games on, to educate. We didn't have any of that. We had to learn our stuff at a library, to actually open a book, or we had to learn it from the streets. So it's really challenging today. If you look at seniors or you look at the 40s or 30, even the 30-year-olds, it's a different type of communication, and you can see it in their eyes. Chanel, you can see it in their eyes. Sometimes they don't know what the hell you're talking about, and sometimes they don't understand what you're talking about, and sometimes they do. So you could have 3 people in a room, have one conversation, and come up with 4 different beliefs of what you just said.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think the one solution to that immediately that jumps out is asking the questions, right? So we tend to deliver information in terms of this is how it is, or this is how we're going to do something, or what it's going to be, or what it's going to look like. And the difference today is we have to ask the questions. That generation is so far ahead of us in so many ways in terms of speed and how they find solutions. They're not looking necessarily for what a company that they can do for a company, but what a company can do for them. It's a whole different mindset. So I think the challenge is to start speaking the language that they're speaking, and the only way to do that is by asking questions. How is it that such and such would make sense for you, or how is it that we can develop this X, Y, and Z in the best way that makes sense. We have to just get where they are. And when we get where they are, I mean, your crew is so talented and so amazing in terms of what they pull off. I'm just so proud to be a part of these just young, vibrant minds.
And they just told me today that normally I throw a surprise at them when we're doing remotes, and we had one on Thursday, which was phenomenal. The remote was phenomenal. And I threw extra shows in there that they were not prepared, nor did they, and they'll tell you straight up, they were not prepared to air it because they didn't take any of the elements or anything else with them. So it required them to talk to crew that was left in studio to send them the necessary elements and things that they needed. They needed to work together to communicate with one another and to complete putting in those 2 extra shows. So today they say to me, please don't do that again. But you know me better than a lot of people. You know that that's what I do.
Yeah.
because you have to be ready for the unexpected. You got to be ready that you're on the shoot and the light bulb turns off, and you got to have an extra light bulb to turn it back on. And that's the
Hmm.
best way I could teach to learn how to work under pressure, under time, how to get things done correctly. Even when something isn't working correctly, you have to create, or you got to reinvent. You got to reinvent. That's the perfect word. Your show is the perfect word of what you got to do today to get things accomplished. And I don't want to lose that art, because when you learn that art, you don't want to lose it.
You know what would be good is if we get a copy of my book to a lot of your crew, because it really talks about the basics of reinventing. It's a handbook. It's an easy read, as you know. It reads fast, but it gives the elements of reinventing, because as they progress in their career, the questions that we ask are so important to figure out the relevancy, but they will need the tools to help, them reinvent. And I don't mind coming on and working with them on a session or two either. Have them read the book and do that. I think that would be a fun thing, and I think it would be really helpful for them.
It's great to try to get the minds to snap into play so that they too can come up with, like today, they came in here, fantastic ideas. I've been thinking about
Yeah.
those for the last 20 years. 20 years ago, I wanted to do the stuff that they're actually making it happen. But you can't teach inner talent. I can't teach them how to handle a mic. I can't teach them how to do things on the fly and not have it scripted and just be themselves and not be afraid to be themselves. And then the owners of the places, they see that and it becomes contagious. You see the smiles, and they do cameos in front of the cameras because they know it's working.
Well, the energy they bring out, to any remote is reflective of, what you've got going on there. I mean, it takes about a second to step into your studio and know that it's got beautiful energy. It's different. It's ever changing. It's vibrant. The music, the art. This is not a typical, what I would call sterile studio that you got going on. And, it's reflective of what they bring out into the field.
It is. We actually, I had a gentleman in here who's working to do a very, very big. I may be flying out to your neck of the woods to do interviews. That's how big this deal is. And he was telling me that we have a tendency of putting music with art, and it comes out with this fine wine frequency that everybody's happy about. You doing your show from the other side of the country, we talked about that. Having a network under the Reinvented Life Network, that's
Exactly.
vital because it talks about everything across the nation: Chicago, New York, Texas, all of them, Arizona. Flagging shows under the network is the best concept, the best growth. And right now, the way things are, you want to have inner growth because you never know if you're going to have a job tomorrow, the way things are going right now. So you might have to reinvent yourself to have one.
Well, exactly right. And that's why I'm thinking if we do some innovative stuff, just starting with your crew, and we see how effective and helpful it can be with them, then, it's limitless. Why don't we take this out into the field? Why don't we take this out? I mean, we've talked about me coming back for events for a long time, but what if we bring the event out into the field? What if we bring
Exactly.
how to reinvent, because it's such an important concept and people need to understand today more than ever. I mean, I wrote the Reinvented Life book 5 years ago, oh no, 5.5 years ago now, and it's more relevant today. It was pre-COVID, and
Yes.
what in the world brought more change than COVID? So um everything from how people work, how companies work, where they work from, whether they're working from home, whether they're working, in place. It's a whole new world, and I think we should try some of this. I think this is a fun outcome of the show.
New World Order is becoming a challenge. Sometimes I think that COVID existed to get us ready for the challenges that we're going through now. the changes,
Mhm.
good, bad, or indifferent. Whether you're going back in time the way things allegedly should be, and people have to take bad medicine to get there, is one way of looking at it. But at the end of the day, you wake up today and you say, am I going to be employed? Am I going to be putting food on the table? Am I going to be able to take care of my kids? Is chickenpox going to invade my building, my house, my community? Is illness going to happen? Is the water going to be bad? Everything is of a concern. So the quicker you reinvent yourself, take stock of yourself, get ready in case you got to take care of you. When others aren't going to
Mhm.
do that, this is what it's all about. The change is now. You've been talking about it for 5 years. I listened. I listened to when you spoke because I got to tell you, we came into this studio, Dawn and I, and we had to reinvent everything we did. Everything that we did before we got here was completely different. Yeah, talk shows are talk shows, but how we did it, everything has changed. And we bought into it and we believed it. And we stick to it. People have asked us to do this and do that, and we stick with it. We have to. Because the bottom line is you got to believe in what you do in order to live it.
Yeah, and you brought up the most important piece of all of this, which is the word change. And that is where it gets scary for people. Change is the most natural piece of the human spirit. Whether it's physical change, emotional change, it doesn't matter. It's all the most natural part. Growth from infancy on, infant, toddler, small child, into teens. This is all growth, right? It's all natural. People don't question it, but that's all change. And so, what is the biggest hurdle for people today? What I love to work with, it excites me, is opening up one's willingness to change, to go from where they are, recognize it's worked, it's got them where they are, and what is going to be for the next hurdle that might arrive. All those things that you talked about, they can be thought of as negative, or they can be thought of as, wow, I get to experience something new. And that's the biggest thing. And like you said, I've talked about this for 5 years, but I think when people start to really identify changes for themselves and not be scared about it, it can get exciting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that people should come to the realization, listening to the show, listening to what you've done, the track record. My father, may he rest in peace, always said to me, you're only successful if you have a track record and you've been doing what you do for a long time. And we've been doing this a long time. But the
Yeah.
message today is you have to believe in you, to reinvent you and get it up and going. And don't worry about all of the nuances that it takes to get there. We can figure that out. But you should, from your state, wherever you are, reinvent it, get involved with the Reinvented Life Network, put it on there, let us push it out all over the country, all over the world, and see what happens to your business. What do you got to lose?
Yeah. And recognize that it's all to the advantage. Instead of thinking about what you need to give up, or what needs to, when you think about change, what isn't going to happen anymore, think about the things that can happen. How does one's business really accelerate? Because it's about expansion and acceleration, and being vibrant more than just surviving. People have gotten so into just this survival mode, and it won't get them to the next levels. So, what you've always impressed me upon, and what I've always learned from you, is you don't want to stop. You don't want to sit on your laurels. You don't want to just be okay with how it is. It's, how do you get to the next level? How do we expand? How do we accelerate? How do we grow? And so that gets exciting for me.
And you've always been a cheerleader of the show. You've always taken care, time to check in on us. You continue to have the shows under your network as well. And we've always shared ideas on how to do it better. Health wise, you and me have had our challenges recently,
Yeah.
a year ago, and we have to push through to survive on these things. Because if it doesn't keep me down, if it doesn't keep me in a bed, I'm gonna keep trying, because it's just that important. I think that the message that we are sharing today is so vital. It's vital for young guys, middle-aged people, people over the age of 50, because the object of the game, what's happening right now, you have to take stock of yourself. You have to understand who you are. You have to understand just how important you really matter to yourself and to the community, because you have something to share, you have something to say. The time is now. You should take time to reinvent yourself. Those words just echo, have been echoing for 5 years with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if you think about it, it's just about changing the narrative. Sometimes we get stuck in certain stories, or we get stuck in this is just how it is. I sometimes think the words I am can be very dangerous, because it's almost like cementing something in. I am X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe the X, Y, and Z was fine for a time, but it's a new day. It's a new set of rules. It's a new evolving environment that we don't even know. So those can be very dangerous words, and we work on it, and we work on it fast. I mean, the beauty of what I do is I work with clients, and it's fast. It isn't long drawn out turnarounds. People see changes in 3 months, 6 months, within a year. They don't even recognize how it all happened, but it's through a process of steps that I've developed, and it takes one from I am X, Y, and Z to, oh my gosh, this expanded version of myself that I never even thought existed.
And do you feel that more people are reinventing, they're taking the message, they're taking it and taking it to heart? Do you feel that more people around you are beginning to listen?
Honestly, no. Honestly, it's a challenge. And I think the ones that do are experiencing incredible success in life, whether that be their physical health or whether that be their business. It all ties together, whatever it is they're up to. Maybe they're retired, but they want to figure out what's their next step. How are they going to contribute to society? It doesn't matter, as you mentioned, the age, because it can be the young college grad to the new workforce, but the answer is there's still fear in reinventing and changing. So the ones that do, the ones that demonstrate flexibility, which, Freddie, this is what has always drawn me from day one to working with you, because you are open to new ideas. And some of the most exciting conversations we have had is exploring things that didn't exist before. But I find that people are still hesitant, and they're scared, and they're working from fear instead of working from the opposite, which is thriving. How does one thrive? How does one, like I was saying, expand and increase?
I love it. I
So
love it. It's been a great ride.
it has been a great ride, and you know what? It's going to continue to be a better ride, because I think one of the things, whether it be COVID, whether it be whatever, all of the big, big topics and concepts that come our way that we didn't expect, it's going to be forced. And so I think what we're heading, if I was to predict the next 5 years, it would be more people willing to take an honest, earnest look at things and think, wow, how can I reinvent this? How can I make something new happen? Because they want to have a choice.
Right. Well, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate you.
And thank you for your time and all the effort and everything you do, and your crew and everyone there at Amp Media for really enabling the Reinvented Life show to happen. I'm always so grateful.
Beautiful. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, and everyone listening and watching, have a beautiful day. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.